Alrighty, what's up guys? Welcome back to a new video on East Coast Manga. So today we're taking a look at Ikigami. Now, this is technically I'm going to do a first impression because I just want to get this video out there because there's a lot of people who are thinking about picking this up and I want to make sure I can give you guys an idea of whether or not this is a good manga for you. So I am on volume 6, there's 10 volumes in total, so I only have, this volume plus 4 more to go. But I am reading this at my own pace, so I may not finish it for a little while. And like I said, I want to get this video out for you guys. I didn't want to make it too long. So this is the manga right here. We have Ikigami. This is printed by Viz Media. This is a Viz signature edition, and this is the back right here. I do have a little bookmark in it. So just real quick, I know you guys have probably heard this before if you've watched some of my hauls or stuff, but I do just want to give you guys an idea of the actual story and what happens in this manga. So in Japan, all first graders are injected with this capsule, and the capsule remotely detonates at a certain point in like 1 out of every 1,000 people. The capsule usually detonates, I want to say it's somewhere between the ages of 16 or 17 all the way to maybe 26 or 27. Now, you never know if you're going to be chosen. It's a huge process, and there's multiple steps and layers, so there's not one person who knows this is going to happen, or at least not so far. And it's a way that the Japanese government tries to get people to realize that life is special and that you need to respect it and respect Japan and, just not cause trouble, I guess. It's a really sick and twisted way of the government, trying to control the population, but I love it. I think it's such a cool concept. Obviously, it's terrible, but I love it in media and stuff like that. I love reading about it or watching things that are similar to this. It is just so insane. And then an Ikigami is a card, so it's like an ID card, and if you receive an Ikigami card, it means that you have 24 hours to live. And our main character, who I believe his name is Kenjo Fujimoto, he's a delivery person who delivers the Ikigamis. And there's these special police, these what do they call them? It's these government police who basically, if you talk bad about the government or you talk bad about Ikigamis or that whole system, you get taken away, you get placed with a capsule, and it kills you. I think you die by heart attack. I think your heart just gives up. But now that we got through the story, I'm going to kind of describe the way that this manga works so far. Now, like I said, I'm in volume 6, so I'm a decent way through. This type of manga is similar to, if anyone's ever read or watched Bokurano, they're both very sad stories. With this one, though, there's a lot of side stories. So this one is very side story driven. Now, I say they're side stories, but they're basically little main stories. The way this manga works is every chapter you're focused on someone who's getting delivered an Ikigami. Sometimes you're given the story before he gets an Ikigami, and sometimes you're given the story after they get an Ikigami, or sometimes it's a little mixture of both. But you're introduced to a ton of different characters each chapter, and it is just so interesting. It's all different stories, all totally different people. Some people are some chapters are just scumbags. You're like, okay, thank God he got an Ikigami, and then other ones are so emotional, and it's how could this how is this person gonna die? It's really messed up. But this is not MC driven or main story driven. This is looking at this process through the lens and the eyes of multiple different families and multiple different people, and that is exactly what I wanted with this manga. Now, some people may not love that. They might want more main story focused, main story driven focused manga where it's the main characters, maybe giving a couple of these, but then really the main manga is just trying to, disassemble this whole system or whatever. That's not what this is. Now, the main character, he does have some evolving that he does, but it's very slow and you're not really focused on the main character. He kind of shows up because he's the one who delivers each Ikigami during the chapters. He does show up and he does have some story. Honestly, he's more of the side story, and these side stories are more of the main stories. Now, as I'm on volume 7, you can tell that there's probably going to be some big things happening towards the later volumes, but right now it's stayed true to focusing on different stories and smaller stories. But man, these stories I feel are so well written. Each chapter is just so interesting. This is not a boring manga in my opinion, but it's also because this is exactly what I wanted. I, honest to God, could not have asked any more of this manga. It has done exactly what I wanted in delivering all these side stories and all these viewpoints. That's what I loved about Bokurano. I didn't really care about the fights. I like the backstories. I liked learning about the characters. Even though I knew, you know, they're going to die, same thing with this. You know, for the most part, which character is going to die, and I feel like that makes it even more interesting because this covers the topic, which I've talked about in Bokurano, the topic of knowing you're going to die and not being able to do anything about it. It is such a psychological mess in these characters' heads, and it's also something that obviously a lot of people in real life actually experience, and I feel like there's probably no other experience that is similar to it. And another thing I love about this manga is it is a pick up and go manga, so you can pick it up, you can read it, finish a chapter or two, put it down, you know, come back to it in a couple days, and you gotta remember what happened. You don't really have to remember every single story, you just kinda have to remember what the main character's up to and his kind of thoughts. But you could easily pick this, you know, pick it up, put it down, you read another manga, and then come back to it. You could easily binge it, of course, but I like the fact that I can put it down, I can read a little bit of another manga, and then go back to it, and, you know, it's one of the mangas that I kind of read before I go to bed. And, you know, I can get through a volume or a couple chapters, put it down and not have to worry about it, and then go back to it in a couple, you know, in a couple other nights. Now, if you see this manga in stores or you order it, some of the volumes are going to be wrapped, or all the volumes are going to be wrapped, but to be honest, that's more so because of the nature of this manga and the fact that it's very dark and very, you know, there's death on every single chapter. But in terms of like nudity and stuff like that, which is usually why mangas wrap, from my memory, I haven't seen any of that. There's been some, you know, suggestive content or some dark content, but if I'm trying to remember, I really don't feel like I've seen any nudity or anything like that, or, you know, anything that really deserves this manga to be wrapped up in plastic wrap. So if anyone's curious about that, that's my impression so far of this. So I know some people get kind of weary if manga's plastic wrap because, you know, of ages and stuff like that. But personally, I would highly recommend this manga if you're into deep psychological manga. If you're not looking for something that's like insanely, I'm trying to think, it's hard to describe. It's not an action manga. It's a thinking manga. It's a psychological manga. And I would say it's a slice of life. It's a super dark slice of life through multiple lenses of multiple characters, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to describe it the best way I can because I think a lot of people, if they get into this, are gonna like it, but I think there's going to be some people who aren't going to like it either, and I'm trying to filter those people out so you don't end up buying this and not liking it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this first impression. Should have showed you guys some art panels throughout so you guys can kind of take a look and see what the art's like. This is the best way I can describe the manga and try to recommend it to you guys without obviously someone who's not going to like it picking it up. It's not a new manga, so I don't know, you know, the stock or stuff like that. So if this sounds interesting to you, I do recommend picking it up. It has gathered some attention on YouTube. I picked it up randomly. I just saw it at Bull Moose and I decided to pick up the rest. I know Manga Z-chan also picks them up. So this is definitely a series that's been talked a lot about, and I'm hoping it stays in print. So you guys, or anyone who wants to buy it is able to. But if you are concerned with like numbers or whatever, you can buy this on Right Stuff. You can buy it on Amazon. I was able to get the whole thing on Right Stuff and for a pretty decent price. So yeah, that's been it for this video. I know I don't do too many first impressions, but this one is definitely worth it. So yeah, I will catch you guys later.